Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Mashakum Malaki Washai, which is to say Yahweh, being named the Heavenly Father, who the world will call God, and Yahweh Shai, being named of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This brother Kesadi from WW3 Jersey, Philly. Lord willing, you tuned in. Lord willing, you locked in. You continue to keep watch. Today is going to be a little different. It's not a full-on Watchman Wednesday, a lesson planned out. But nevertheless, through the Spirit, we're still going to give you this update and let you know exactly what's going on. Right? So it's not a whole lot going on as far as, a bulk of prophecies or updates is going on, I should say. But there are some major things that's going on. And if you don't know already, you need to make sure that you really locked in. Now, this article, as you see on the screen, we're going to go into it. It actually touches on a few points that I wanted to, bring up. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So this is from CNN. Of course, they're not the only source that you could check out. This is true. This is a true event that actually took place. So it says Ukraine fires UK-made Storm Shadow missiles into Russia for first time, says reports. So it says Ukraine launched the British French-made Storm Shadow missiles at targets inside Russia for the first time on Wednesday, according to Russian military blog and Reuters. And this happened earlier today. If I could have, I would have made a video immediately when it first took place, but of course, we got to be at the plantation, right? And I work longer hours normally on Wednesday. But nevertheless, it says in Reuters, a day after Ukraine fired U.S.-made Atacked missiles into Russia. It says Ukraine's use of the UK-supplied missiles to hit Russian territory was confirmed to Reuters by an official on condition of anonymity. It says British media also reported the use of the cruise missile on Wednesday, citing sources. See that? So they wanted to show that they had multiple sources. And we got multiple sources, right? Follow us on a Watchman for Israel, right, on Twitter, on X, right? We repost the multiple sources. So it says Ukraine's defense minister, whatever that name is, right, refused to confirm or deny the use of UK-made missiles during a Wednesday news conference, nor did a spokesperson for the UK Ministry of Defense when asked by CNN. So I don't know if this is going to go into it or I might have missed it already, but just yesterday, right? So what did you have yesterday? Yesterday you have, actually we did read it. So we had Ukraine, they have fired the U.S.-made Atacked missiles. Now, if you don't know what these missiles are, these are long-range ballistic missiles. And they're so important because, prior to these missiles being launched, neither side was using long-range missiles. Now, again, long-range missiles are so important because you can attach nuclear warheads to these missiles. So when you launch these, and they could be just shooting out, long-range missiles to really to also use a GPS tracker or not even a GPS tracker, but a sonar tracker to pretty much scan the area and see, the defense setup for Russia when they do launch these missiles off. It got to a point where Russia already had laid down to NATO, chiefly to America, and said, look, we know that Ukraine doesn't have this artillery. They don't have this arsenal. This isn't their own. So if y'all start arming Ukraine with these missiles, we're going to start arming your enemies with other missiles. And this was a few months ago. Fast forward to November 19th, where, really a few days ago, right? But I believe 2 days ago on the 18th, you have, because today is the 20th, right? So you got 2 days ago, you got Biden, who had pretty much gave the initiative to go ahead for Ukraine to start using U.S.-made Atacked missiles. Now, how the hell they get these missiles so quickly? Evidently, these missiles were already there in Ukraine, right? So that's one point you can note. The second point is that, again, Russia already said, don't do this. If you do this, we'll have no choice but to change our nuclear policy. Yesterday, Ukraine launched these missiles, and in later that day, Russia changed their nuclear policy. Give me one quick Slovakia. Right? So, like I said, Russia changed their nuclear policy, and we're going to get into that as well, right? But the point is that Russia told America not to give these missiles to Ukraine, and they gave them to them, and then Ukraine launches these missiles. So later that day, yesterday, the 19th, November 19th, not only did Russia change their policy, which we'll get into, like I mentioned, but also Britain, UK, they had approved Storm Shadow missiles to also be given to Ukraine. And in November 20th, which is today, on Wednesday, Ukraine uses these missiles. Now, it's a lot we want to get into, right? It's a lot we want to get into, right? But again, I want to have this. Hold on, we're gonna come right back to that. Let's get a precept, right? Let's get a precept, because America's playing with fire, right? They've always been playing with fire, but they really, I guess, they don't believe or really think. They're not really thinking about what goes into the things that they're going to do, right? Let me get this precept first before we come back to that. They're not really considering what's going to be their last end. This the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 25. But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he had done. So the Lord said, when you do wrong, you'll receive that reward for the things that you've done. The wrong you've done, you'll get that back. The good you've done, you'll get that back. Be not deceived, Yahweh is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. Right? Galatians 6 and 7. So they're not considering that, hey, you're arming Ukraine with nuclear capable missiles. They're not nukes just yet, but they're capable. What do you think Russia's going to do? That's like, you want to, not to get corner, but that's like somebody being out there in the streets, and you got one group, right? I'm not going to say gang, but one group, they start supplying their competitors with straps or things of that nature. Hey, what is that going to make their enemies do? They're going to want to do the same thing. Essentially, Group A is now, by them helping out Group B to go against Group C, Group A and Group B is both going to war with Group C. What I'm saying is, by America helping out Ukraine and giving them these missiles, which Russia said don't do, and these missiles are now, which are US made and UK made missiles, being launched deep into Russia. This is now no longer a war between Ukraine and Russia as it was presented on paper. We all know, if you have any understanding in this geopolitics, you know damn well it's not just Ukraine versus Russia, right? Right? That's just not what it is. But now, even on paper, because it was presented that way, but now on paper, you can see, okay, well, these missiles are coming from NATO and being launched on Russia. Therefore, NATO has launched these missiles on Russia. That's what we're seeing right now. You're seeing NATO missiles being launched into Russia. NATO is launching missiles in Russia. There's even reports that these missiles that was launched today, these Storm Shadow missiles, Ukrainian soldiers are being trained by British soldiers on how to use them. So what is that saying? That's saying that these British soldiers are using these missiles. They're the ones that's launching these missiles. They're just doing it from Ukraine because they're long-range missiles. It's not a wonder, right? But let's get this in Genesis chapter 9. This Genesis 9 and verse number 6. It says, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of Yahweh made he, it's like it made he man. Right? So the Lord said, when you shed a man's blood, and your blood is also going to be shed. When you're giving out these nuclear missiles, when you get, or any missiles, right? And you launching, you helping out your allies to go against their direct enemies. And guess what? You now are made an enemy, right? America, you about to be destroyed. There's no more long ado and long drawn out speech over it. It just is what it is. It's as simple as that. The second Ezra 15:23. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. What's the day? It's talking about these missiles. Let's jump up to verse 39. Actually, I want to go to 35. It says, they shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own star, and blood shall be from the sword into the belly. Now we know this is not literally talking about stars, right? But this is the way that Ezra was able to describe this, as well as, and this is elsewhere in the scriptures as well. You know, stars is described, or nuclear missiles, or missiles in general, are described as stars when you read the book of St. Matthew, the 24th chapter, right? When you read Revelation, the 6th chapter, right? The 12th verse on down. Even when you come over here, right, you read in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, when you read Isaiah, the 34th chapter, these are going into, this is the best way for these prophets to describe it at the time, because they didn't know these terms would be attack of missiles, or storm shadow missiles, or hypersonic missiles, or cruise missiles. You know, these weren't the terms that was given to them at the time, right? So the best way to describe it is as a star that's in the sky. The same way you see a shooting star go across the sky is the same way you see these missiles then launching across the sky, right, in the heavens, and dropping down upon a nation. Right, reading on. And dung of men unto the camel's hoof. It says, and there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon earth, and they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. Right, let's jump down to verse 41. Fire and hell, and fleeing swords, and many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities, and walls, mountains, and hills, trees of the wood, and grass of the meadows, and their corn. And they, right, which is these missiles, shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. So these things are going to go directly into Babylon. Again, they're playing a very, in all praise to Yahweh Shem Yoshai. I don't know if you didn't know this already, but it's the Most High that's doing this. The Lord is doing this. The Lord is bringing these nations to send missiles one at another. The Lord is going to arm these nations with nukes to destroy each other. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, is the one that's about to destroy this world and create a new one because of all the iniquity, the blood, the murderous spirit, the destruction, the demonic energy, these demons that's poured out all over the four corners of the earth, and all the evil that they done to our people. And guess what? They got to be destroyed. It got to go down like this. I'm going to get this real quick in Isaiah, right? The 4th chapter. And I don't want to make this video too long, right? Because we do got to upload it, and it'd be taking hella long on YouTube, right? When you're not live streaming, right? And Lord willing, we'll be right back at it again, most I willing, next week with a Watchman Wednesday. We got something special planned, the most I willing we could get to. But yeah, Lord willing, you tune in at 10 p.m. next Wednesday. But this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 4. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof, by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. So the Lord has to cleanse this earth by the spirit of judgment, by burning. Right? That's the only, remember, water is a purifying agent and fire is another purifying agent. Hey, this earth has to be purified with fire. Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 18. Actually, let me get the book. Actually, bear with me one quick second. Right. Right. Let me get the book real quick of Let me get this real. Yeah, actually, that's what I want. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, and I'll start at verse 9. It says, "But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. The loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in a perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments." So evil is going to come upon America in one day. It's not going to take 1,000 years for you eventually to see the downfall of America. No, this thing will go down very soon. It's going to be swift. It's going to be speedily. The Lord said that in the book of Revelation. Let's get that. Revelation chapter 18 and verse number 8. It says, "Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is Yahweh who judgeth her." See that? So it's not going to take a long, great time. No, America's going to be destroyed very soon. So let's go back to this article. Let's see what else we can get from this article. So it says, a Russian military blogger on Wednesday posted photos on Telegram of a Storm Shadow missile fragment, claiming that up to 12 of the missiles were fired on Russia's Kursk region. Right? 12 of them. And I wanted to show really quickly about Russia's new nuclear policy. So I thought I had that pulled up. Let's see if we can get it over here. So this is from Reuters. This is, again, November 19th. Putin issues warning to United States with a new nuclear doctrine. It says Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday lowered the threshold for a nuclear strike in response to a broader range of conventional attacks. And Moscow said Ukraine has struck deep inside Russia with U.S.-made attack on missiles. Putin approved the change days after two U.S. officials, and a source familiar with the decision said on Sunday that U.S. President Joe Biden's administration allowed Ukraine to use U.S.-made weapons to strike deep into Russia. Russia had been warning the West for months that if Washington allowed Ukraine to fire U.S., British, and French missiles deep into Russia, Moscow would consider these NATO members to be directly involved in a war in Ukraine. This is what we said earlier. It says the updated Russian nuclear doctrine establishing a framework for conditions under which Putin could order a strike from the world's biggest nuclear arsenal was approved by him on Tuesday, according to a published decree. Right? So what? This is now saying that he can go ahead and use these missiles. And they've been very patient. I'll be like, but we know it's all of the will of Yahweh Shem Shai, right? The Lord said, let's get this real quick in Revelation chapter 7. Start of verse 1. It says, "And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor in any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having a seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads." So the Lord is holding back those winds of destruction, holding back destruction on the earth until the elect is sealed. Once the elect is sealed, then there's going to be great destruction upon the earth. But the elect first must be sealed. Must be sealed. 12,000 from each tribe must be sealed. Once they're sealed, then they can do what they got to do in the earth. Let's read on. It says the previous doctrine contained in a 2020 decree said Russia may use nuclear weapons in case of a nuclear attack by an enemy or conventional attack that threatened the existence of the state. So what is it saying? So Russia, their previous doctrine was they will only strike in response to a strike. But now they're saying, well, we can strike when we need to, when we feel like we need to strike. So now they pretty much changed it to a first. They can strike first. Now it's a strike first policy. It says the doctrine said any attack by a non-nuclear power supported by a nuclear power would be considered a joint attack. Now remember, Ukraine struck Russia. Then Russia made this new policy yesterday, and then today Ukraine strikes Russia again using a Nato member, which is Ukraine, or it's like a UK using their missile to strike Russia. That's a big deal because a day after they made their new policy, they trying to say they ain't about it. That's what they really saying. They're saying y'all not really like that. So we gonna show y'all how much y'all really not like that, and how much y'all really not trying to go against us, which is how NATO's thinking. We're gonna go ahead and launch another missile, this time a Storm Shadow, from France and UK. Now what is Russia gonna do? The ball is in their court. The ball is in their court. Let's see what they're gonna do. Now, while this is going down, there was also one more thing I wanted to talk about really quickly. Keep your head on a swivel. So you had I'm gonna read this report real quick. So it says FBI has arrested a Florida man in connection with a bomb plot targeting the New York Stock Exchange during Thanksgiving. This guy, he's from Coral Springs, Florida. The FBI has arrested Harun Abdul Malik Yenner, a 30-year-old from Coral Springs, Florida, for allegedly plotting to bomb the New York Stock Exchange. According to court documents, Yenner is charged with attempting to use an explosive to damage a building involved in interstate commerce. The FBI received a tip about bomb making schematics. It says stored in an unlocked storage unit. An affidavit revealed that Yenner described his plan as creating destruction akin to a quote-unquote small nuke, intended to kill everyone inside the building and devastate the surrounding area. He allegedly planned to detonate an improvised explosive device outside the New York Stock Exchange the week before Thanksgiving. Agents report that Yenner's motive was to trigger a reset of the U.S. government. Mind you, this just happened. This is today. Now, I want to pull something up real quickly because I found that to be interesting, right? Like I said, I found that to be interesting. This was about 6 days ago, right? So this MSN, we'll get it from another, let's go right here to HoustonPublicMedia.org, right? They would have more of an insight on it directly in Houston, right? So it says, Houston terrorist attack plot foiled. FBI says a 28-year-old man in custody. It says Hanaz said admitted, that's his name, Hanaz said, admitted to planning the terror attack from his far west Houston apartment. FBI officials said he's also accused of attempting to provide material support to ISIS. A 28-year-old Houston man is in custody and accused of plotting a terrorist attack in the city. I'm going to jump down to this third article. Officials said he also admitted to researching how to conduct an attack on local military recruiting centers, offering his home as a safe sanctuary to ISIS operatives, bragging he would commit a 9/11 style attack if he had the resources, and attempted to produce ISIS propaganda. Now, back-to-back days, or really back in the same week, this is 6 days ago. It's actually last Thursday. So, back-to-back weeks, you have these quote-unquote terrorist attacks that's being stopped by the FBI, their joint terrorist task force, and you don't think something would take place from this? I mean, there's a whole nother video I want to do on this deportation and really go a little more in depth on what Trump's plan is, because he does have a plan to immediately kick off martial law and round up all quote unquote illegal immigrants, but also anyone that's really attached to any outside sources, right? Any outside countries. And I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to share this to you and to definitely show you, let you know what's going on, because again, back to back weeks is a terrorist attack that was stopped by the FBI, by the so-called FBI. So definitely keep your head on a swivel, right? Of course, we want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Shem Mashal Mike Shai. I want to get one more precept before we close out. Again, it's a lot going on in the earth, and this is really the time, like we always say, more than ever, to make sure you're being diligent and keeping watch. This is the book of St. Mark, chapter 13, and I'll start at 28. Now learn the parable of the fig tree. When her branches yet tender, and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is near. So ye in like manner, when you shall see these things come to pass, know that it is nigh, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, that this generation shall not pass till all these things be done. Heaven and earth shall not pass away. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. So the Lord said what? He said, when you see these things start to happen, know that it is nigh at the door. Meaning what? Judgment is about to be at the door. Right? We see a lot of things happen in the earth. You got to know what time you're living in. You're not living in a time to kick your feet up and relax. It's just not that time. But again, Most High willing was edified. Of course, we want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Mashal Mike Shai. Kwame Sharala, keep watching these last days. Shalom.